Welcome. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is October 20th, 2022. You know what that means? It is day 20 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year 11. I'm also covering day 19. I'm a day behind because I had originally planned for Terrifier 2 to be day 19. Okay? But then when I left the movie theater, I was like, I don't know what to think of this movie, and that's really rare for me. I will usually when I leave the movie theater or done watching the movie at home, I usually have a good gauge of how I will like the movie, regardless, like even over time. You know, it's like I liked it. This could have been changed. Blah blah blah. Like with the Hellraiser and the Halloween Ends. Like I will rewatch those movies from down the line for sure. So I knew that I will at least get a couple more rewatches out of me. I knew that much. But was it the movies that I was hoping it to be, those two? One was more than the other, for sure. But when I left Terrifier 2, I just couldn't quite figure out what my thoughts were. And that's it's kind of new for me. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to sit and think on this movie. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait until day 20. I'll do Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 is day 19. And the movie for actual today will be Terrifier 2 for day 20. So I'm just like, because I can't really talk one without the other. That's the big thing. So before I really get started, click subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, and share, because doing all those things helps me, helps you, all that fun stuff, because I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this movie if you've seen it. The first one, or especially the second one, I want to hear what you have to say so much about this one. When you click subscribe and hit the bell, it helps you stay notified when my videos go live, and when you share my videos, helps me get my when you leave a like and share, helps me get my channel and videos out there to a much broader audience. And yeah, like I said, I'm usually pretty good at being able to gauge what my my overall feeling of the movie was when I left the theater or got done watching it here at home, like I mentioned. So it was just like, okay, like what? When my wife asked me, like, what'd you think of the movie? I'm like, I'm still processing of it. So I'm still processing it. I'm just like, I need to sit here and think on it. And then I started talking to her about it. And so, but before I really dive into that one, I want to talk about the first one. I've already talked about it in a previous year, but I do have to talk about the overall movie feel of the first one. The first one is a horror classic, 100%. I'm just going to jump to the rating on that one. It's a horror classic. It's a cult hit. You know, it's came out of nowhere, even though Art the Clown has been in a few movies already. But Terrifier was a really good movie. You know, Art the Clown, you know nothing about him, his motivations. He is so vague. He's ambiguous, you know. His mannerisms, his ability to do things, like he can be really slow and stocky, and then really fast, and the next thing he pulls out a gun. You know, it's like okay, like you don't know him as a character because he's so all over the place. I really like that. And then, as well as the two main characters, the two women in the movie, they are really good as well. They're just on Halloween. I think they're coming home from a Halloween party, and they stop for some pizza, and that's where Art the Clown just like, these are the two people, you know? But we'll get to that when I start talking about the second one, because I don't think it's as random as it appears to be. Okay. I think there's more to the picture of all of this, and that's what kind of bothers me with the second one, and I'll kind of talk about that in a minute as well. But it's like the effects, the acting, the gore, like that big gore scene in the movie where one of the girls just gets cut down the middle, you know, from head to toe, you know, like this way, you know, and it's brutal, and it's all done practical, and it's so good to see like good horror movies like that. And then the lead of the movie changes, and so it's just like there's just so many cool things that happens in that first movie because it's all kind of centralized in one area. It's just a bottleneck movie, you know. It's just like it's just or not bottleneck movie. It's just kind of it's just there's a term for it. I can't think of it. It's just takes place in just a warehouse or an abandoned apartment complex or something like that. And so it's done really well, and they don't have to like go this way or go that way. It's just one area, and that's what I really liked about the first movie. And that's what and the like you know, there's other set dressings. You know, you got the pizza parlor, like the news station, interview room, the like the dressing room and stuff like that. The morgue. You know, like there's more than just one centralized air thing to kind of make it to give some nice variety of the movie. But it's just like okay, loved it. Okay, that comes into play for Day 20's movie Terrifier 2, where this movie's 2.5 hours long. The first movie was like an hour and a half, I do believe. Maybe a little shorter, maybe a little longer, but perfect length for that movie. This is a 2.5 hour horror movie, okay? Especially when a lot of the movie is just talking. Getting to know the characters. I'm all for that. Trust me. I love and if it meant something. That was my biggest complaint about Terrifier 2 is because there's so much stuff that didn't get explained, even though there was a lot of talking. A lot of things just didn't feel like it added up in the end. The ending itself was just like, huh? Like, I left asking more questions than the movie actually answered, and which sometimes is not a bad thing, but this particular movie, I kind of wished it answered a few more questions. Like, why can some people see the little girl clown and some people can't? Why can Art the clown see her? And you know, it's just like there's just a lot of things going on, and then like there's this thread throughout the whole movie about the sword. You know, our main girl Sienna, she likes to make costumes. Her dad likes to draw. And her dad has passed away previously before the movie started, and so we don't get to meet him as a character, but we kind of learn that he likes to draw. But in his final days, which gets explained way too late in the movie for my taste, like what happened to him, and like now like okay, like we understand that was kind of troubled towards the end, and like was he always troubled like mentally wise? But we explained through that it was not this is non-spoiler, but it was a tumor. So it's kind of explained why he was seeing the things he was doing, drawing the things he was drawing, and it was just like okay, I understand. But it was explained so late in the movie that I'm like, this could have helped an hour and a half ago, you know. Explained like that's why the dad wasn't there. Maybe that's why it would kind of add a little bit more oomph to like maybe the kid is actually kind of like hallucinating some of this, and then this being real. Like, what is the realistic part, or the like the mental aspect of it all? You know, like, but that's not where this movie really shines. Okay, the story is the biggest problem of this movie. It's 2.5 hours long. Things don't get explained. Things just happen. Like, where are the police in this movie? Why do we need like this dance sequence not dance sequence, this club scene where we explain that she's on Molly? That could have been, okay, that scene wasn't as bad as I think it was, because there is a few lines of dialogue where she is kind of keeping her dad's death kind of all bottled up, and her friend kind of takes it upon herself to like make her cut loose and everything, and it kind of backfires a little bit. But I understand that, but it went on for way too long for my taste. Even though it was there were some good moments in there, but it's just like, and explains why one friend is absent from what's going on. And that's where this movie really shines, is Art the Clown and the death scenes. The death scenes are so over the top, gory, and fun, and but it's all meaningless if there is no substance to the story itself. Like, I can, like, okay, I'm trying not to defend Serbian film as much as I can, but like, the stuff that happens in that movie, there's a justification for it. You know, if you want to hear more about that movie, me and the Ice Lord did a whole like hour and a half review on that movie. So go over to I Am the Ice Lord's channel to go watch that review of it. But there's a lot of bad stuff that happens in a Serbian film, as you can see, like right behind me there. A lot of bad stuff, but at least it fits within the realm of the movie. Okay, it's like there's like, okay, we understand that's what's going on in the movie. Here, it does happen that way as well, but it's just like if it was a straight slasher film, it wouldn't have done very well. But as being as random as the movie is, that's also kind of a pro and con as well. And I'm still processing this movie. I may have to do a part 2 later on next month, after this is all said and done. Maybe watch it again. But I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to have to like maybe watch it one more time. But as I sit here trying to think about what my definitive answer, if I liked it or not, I did enjoy the Terrifier scenes. Okay, like the scenes with Art the Clown, like he was perfect in this movie. The scenes that I really didn't like were the scenes that really didn't go nowhere, were not explained. I do like the dream sequence in the movie. That was fun. But then it just kept kind of like coming back to that dream state sequence or area. It's like, it didn't really like, what's going on? Like, why is the sword so important? Why was her dad's vision so important? But we don't get no explanation for any of that. Like, and one of the biggest explanations that I thought we were going to get was a little bit more backstory on Art the Clown and how he survived his gunshot wound, self-inflicted gunshot wound at the beginning of at the end of the first movie. We don't get that. I know there is some supernatural element to all of this. I knew that, and I love that, because having just a little bit of it is fun. Because even in Friday the 13th, Michael Myers, Halloween, what else? Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, Leprechaun, just having a little bit of a supernatural element makes some of these horror movies even better. You know, like, of course, there's no way someone who can kill you in your dreams has to be kind of a little supernatural. Jason coming back as a zombie Jason after like part 4, you know, supernatural. Lightning, stuff like that. Just the folklore with Leprechaun, you know, like, this supernatural element is not a bad, has its place in horror movies 100%. And so that aspect of it was like, okay, we're going to have a little bit of supernatural element to this. Maybe Art is kind of like maybe he's kind of some form of something, you know, just something, you know, and like, and we didn't get that. So, okay, the ending. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I do kind of want to talk about it. So, Art is defeated. I'm not going to tell you how, but he is defeated. And then it's a little zinger tacked on ending, you know, MCU style, but not quite as at the end of the movie. But the survivor from the first movie is in a mental institution, and the 2 orderlies are talking, which I love. One of them is played by Chris Jericho, so I love that aspect of it all. Because once I didn't know he was in the movie, so I seen his name pop up on the screen. I'm like, oh, where's he showing up? How's he gonna die? And so I'm looking forward to him. And so if he finally showed up, I'm like, perfect. And so they're talking, and then the survivor from the first movie, she just like going nuts, writing dirty words on the wall. And then the orderly, or I think it's an orderly, or the night nurse, or night secretary, whatever you want to call them, checks up on her because she starts to hear noises, and there's a big reveal, and it's just like, how like, I have never been that upset about an ending in a good long while. I haven't been since Noobs. Okay, that movie's ending utterly destroys me and it still does to this day. But the ending of this movie was just like, it was just being shock factor for being shocking, and it was just like, okay, whatever. And it's like, when it was over, that's what really, like, if it would have ended where it ended before the credits, for that little tack on ending, I would have been like, okay, I don't mind it. But then the little extra PS really, like, like, what's going on here? That's what really, like, confused me, like, on how to take this movie. So I don't have a rating for this. Like, definitely, okay, I do have a 1 rating. It is definitely a 2. Best watched with the group. Okay, it's not run of the mill, far from it. It's not a horror classic yet, at least not in my opinion, because maybe if we get another entry in the movie to enhance this one. So it's definitely not a 4. No way. I don't know about that one. It may help move the horror genre forward because it made a lot of money. It did. For this type of movie, as independent as it was, and being on the big screen, making a ton of money, and putting these kind of movies, like, there is a market for these. I think this is also one of those rare 4s as well. It could help move the horror genre forward and helping getting some more these independent horror movies in theaters. So yeah, it may be a 4 as well, but it's definitely more than average. But it's definitely a 2 in my opinion. It's definitely best watched with a group. I went with a friend. There was one person who came and seen it by myself. I was willing to go see it by myself, but luckily he came with me. But there was actually more than I thought showed up for this late of a showing, and it was definitely best watched with the group. And that's really all I had to say right now. I know I'm almost 20 minutes into this, but this movie was hard to talk about or to process, because I like the gore scenes. I like the characters. I like Art the Clown. He was so good in this movie. The mom was actually really good. I like the mom as well, because her reasoning behind everything was really good. Yeah, everyone was kind of whiny in some things, and especially the mom, but she was just being the mom, you know. There's no big deal there, but it was just like, there was just a lot going on. So yeah, that's really all I have to say for right now. When this movie comes out, I will probably rewatch it. Hopefully there's some commentary. Maybe a second viewing will change my tune on it all. But there's a lot about this movie I liked. There's a lot of this movie that confused me, or I just didn't quite understand some of the stuff. So and there were some things I just didn't like. So this really wasn't quite like, like, this movie made me question, like, what my thoughts on the movie more than Halloween Ends. I know how everyone's taking that movie to behind the shed and shooting it, you know, but doing the old Yeller treatment, nope. And it's gonna, but like this one, it's definitely different, you know. But like I mentioned before, there is one scene that really got me, was like one of the big brutal scenes in the movie. Art just breaks in, starts chasing one of Stina's friends around in the house, and he ends up getting this like scalpel or knife, and she gets her like right here, okay, and it's like deep too. So it's like from forehead to cheek to the bottom of the mouth, and it like slices her eye and everything. And of course it's cheap, not cheap, far from it. The effects look amazing in this movie. That is probably the biggest compliment of this movie. Like the effects are great. The gore is over the top but fun. And I just wish the story was a little bit more there. That's all I wanted. That would have made this movie a true horror classic already. You know, if the story was a little bit more finessed and everything. So that is all. It's already 20 minutes long. I can't believe I went on this long, but watch the first one. The Terrifier 1 is a horror classic. Watch the second one. It's not as bad as everyone. The people passing out and vomiting and everything. The people who are doing that, if it is true, if it's marketing or whatever, those are the people who don't watch horror movies whatsoever. They don't know anything. They just, yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and all I can really say is stay spooky and thank you.